Hi everyone! So if you happen to follow James Aspey on Facebook or Instagram, you're probably aware of the drama surrounding his decision to create an OnlyFans account with his girlfriend Nikki. Well, his fiancée. I can understand some of the criticism regarding influencer culture and this idea of building a fandom around being an animal rights activist. But overall, I thought the outrage was a bit excessive, so let's talk about it.
What is going on in the comment section of our OnlyFans posts? What is everybody doing there?
My initial reaction to all of this was confusion. Like, how is this causing an uproar? Who freaking cares? But it led me down a rabbit hole, and I discovered that there are entire Facebook pages dedicated to shitting on white male celebrity vegan activists like James Aspey, Joey Carbstrong, and Earthling Ed, who supposedly have a savior complex. The term white savior refers to a white person who provides help to non-white people, in this case animals, in a self-serving manner. Someone having a savior complex means that they have to be the one to save the day, and they want the credit. They want to be viewed as a hero. After spending way too much time looking through old posts on the Ken Savior and Karen Savior Facebook pages, I realized that there is some valid criticism of these vegan celebrities buried under a bunch of over-the-top SJW outrage. For one, they could probably do a better job sharing their platform and amplifying the voices of lesser-known activists, particularly those with marginalized identities, and shouting out smaller projects. They could learn more about politics and other social justice issues. And they could rethink the effectiveness and impact of traveling all over the world. Some travel is justified, but they could probably be just as effective, if not more effective, staying local. And it would certainly lessen their carbon footprint. I think it's valid to criticize popular vegan activists when they say harmful or ignorant things. It's valid to question the ethics of accepting an opportunity to give a speech on a vegan cruise, considering how environmentally destructive cruise ships are. It's valid to question the effectiveness of street activism and posting conversations on YouTube compared to other forms of activism such as political campaigning. Street activism is great, but we may be overestimating our impact here. We shouldn't heap so much praise on a handful of white male social media stars and paint them as the leaders of the vegan movement, because there are so many activists who do just as much, if not more, for the animals and don't receive enough credit in comparison. But I think this says more about our society than it does about James, Joey, or Ed. The problem I have with these Ken and Karen Savior pages is that they seemingly don't give James, Joey, Ed, that vegan couple, or any of these other activists they love to drag any credit. They act as if they're doing more harm to the movement than good. Street activism and social media outreach is all useless saviorism. This is where I disagree. We shouldn't worship them, but we shouldn't villainize them either. And we shouldn't lump them all together. They're not equally problematic. None of these saviors are above criticism, but I think people are making a lot of unfounded assumptions about their personal income and motivations. Why are we ascribing bad intentions, like they're just in it for the money, driven by ego, creating this savior persona so they can get laid? This does not seem like fair criticism to me. Do these guys really deserve the same level of condemnation as people like Elise Parker? If they really were after money, there are a lot more lucrative paths they could take. James and Nikki's response to the controversy reveals just how far people are reaching to tear them down, claiming they were asking their vegan followers to fund their wedding when they never did such a thing, and that he supposedly makes millions of dollars as an activist. These estimations are ridiculous. Again, I'm not defending James because I idolize him and view him as my vegan hero. I've never given him money on Patreon, and I don't care enough about his personal life to join his OnlyFans account for $11 a month. I'm just amazed that so many people were outraged about this. There are many things to be outraged about, but this ain't it. If you think your money would be better spent elsewhere, spend it elsewhere. A lot of criticism I've seen aimed at these vegan saviors is that they're not transparent about their income and how their money is spent, as they're operating off Patreon donations. This seems like a fair request, considering when we donate to a nonprofit, we usually check to see their financial breakdown to make sure our dollars are well spent. But if you look at their Patreon accounts, they're pretty transparent. Ed is pulling in quite a bit of money on Patreon, but he's hired a full-time staff member, has quite the workload, and is producing high-quality content. Joey and James are both making modest amounts. Is it really necessary to reveal exactly how much money they're taking as a personal salary? I don't know. I'm sure some people would insist it's too high, and then they'd have to justify it by revealing their personal expenses. Is that really our business? Regarding AV, it does seem that they could be a bit more transparent and professional as a nonprofit organization. But that whole situation is a mess, and I don't want to get into it. But how much wealth can one justify attaining? How much travel can one justify? I feel like as long as you're living within your carbon budget and your lifestyle doesn't require more than one Earth if everyone lived like you, then you're good. Perhaps James Aspey outspent his carbon budget the past few years on his permanent vacation. That is a fair criticism. But should we all have to report our personal carbon footprint every year in the interest of transparency? Sometimes it really does seem like you can't have fun or go on vacation as an activist without people questioning your motives. And that brings me to my last point. James' strategy seems to be lifestyle activism or attractivism. Is this wrong? It would be delusional to think that shirtless pics and blue-ass water will bring about animal liberation. But his overall approach seems to be an effective way to appeal to a mainstream audience. Is there evidence that it's not? Who else is going to reach the normies? I don't really have a point, just a lot of questions. My brain is a little scattered, but to provide a somewhat coherent conclusion to this video, I would say that we can criticize and question these vegan celebrity activists without shitting all over them and attacking their character. Bashing them on Facebook just seems hateful and unproductive. No benefit of the doubt is given. If you want to give a genuine, nuanced critique of what these guys are doing, I'm open to hear it. Personally, I don't think they have a savior complex. I just think they're passionate about the cause. But maybe I'm missing something. Let me know what you think in the comments. Alright, peace out.
Yo, how when me eat them, I wonder when me eat. When me tell them say me no eat no fish, no meat now. How when me eat them, I wonder when me yum. When me tell them say that I'm a vegan man. How when me eat them, I wonder when me eat.